Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton, and without me today is our absentee ass kicker, Bethany McChesney. She's just on a little holiday. She'll be back next week, so no worries. However, she picked a really bad time to do it because we had an absolutely amazing guest. So without further ado or any pomp and circumstance, I bring you Kris Rugloski. It was a bad deal. I forgot to hit a record one time and we lost like an hour-long interview. It was
no.
And
Matt did that at the finish line at OCRWC.
Oh, did he?
He was doing the finish line interview. I actually haven't listened to the episode yet that it should be on. But he was like, after we had been talking for like maybe 10 minutes, he looked down and he was like, "Oh, one of the microphones aren't working." And my microphone was switched off. Like, no. So.
Oh, actually, I did hear that. It's like 3 minutes of you like.
Oh, really? That's all
yeah.
that his microphone picked up. Oh, that sucks. But I haven't listened to that one yet.
It's still a good interview. It's not bad. I mean, it's still good.
Oh yeah.
And like we'll just start with it. So Bethany could not be here this week.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever watch. Bethany's usually with us, and
I just listened to one of your episodes because I actually have not gotten around to adding your podcast to my.
And you still came on. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I should listen to one at least. So I'm disappointed not meet Bethany, but make it happen.
You'll just have to come back another time and meet her. So
there we go.
It does save me from having to come up with a new name because every week I have a different kind of name for her, and it's really stressful to come up with a different alliteration or thing every time.
That's a lot of work. Glad you get a break today at least.
Yeah. And well, anyway, so thank you. But the one thing and I'll start with this. So I have a bit of a theory that as OCR and hybrid racing is evolving as sport, that you need to specialize. Why are you trying so hard to make me look stupid?
I actually heard that on the, I think it was the 15K relay. You said something about like, maybe periodization isn't the way. So I just listened. I don't have all the answers and I don't know what I'm doing. So.
Well, you're doing it well.
I'm not doing it intentionally, but I just listened to the Running Public has been a great podcast that I've been listening to, and everything, a lot of things they'll say, I'm like, that's cool. I take a very different approach than they do, but they have a lot of good things to say. So I'm like, I enjoy listening to it. But just this past one, they were talking about like, if you get burnt out, the way to like start over is basically like reset. Like you can't keep spinning your tires when you're like, sometimes you need to take a step back, take 10 days off and then come back. Anyway, so I guess I kind of take that approach probably, I don't know. I would say my training is pretty like intuitive. I do kind of what I feel like when I feel like. Obviously I put in some quality sessions and those aren't always enjoyable. Those aren't always fun, but I kind of like the same approach to my training as the approach I take to my races. Like if I'm not having fun, I don't want to do it. And so unfortunately I happen to have a fun doing a lot of things. So I would say my approach is like, my local gym here, it just happens to be an obstacle course gym, which of course is a huge advantage. But we do daily workouts with a lot of like body weight. It's functional fitness, which obviously everybody thinks CrossFit, but it's like functional fitness minus the barbells. And it's great. It's a lot of kettlebells, body weight. We use sandbags. That's kind of it. That's kind of, so I do those daily workouts. And my theory is that if I put in 3 runs a week, a long run, sprints, and then I try to do a long run in sprints and then I kind of run whatever I want in between. And so I'll run with different people at the gym, in between classes, before classes, whatever. So that's my running base. I'm keeping my running base like pretty much holding steady. I'm not really like building towards anything significant, but I'm like keeping some base of like, I can run for 2 hours and I can sprint decently fast on a sprint day. Like, there's a local running girl here that, she kind of sends out sprint workouts every week and I'll just do whatever she says. Like, so it's she ran, I don't have any like sports background. So she ran track and cross country, I think. And she's, trained for marathons and stuff. So she'll put out these different workouts. And I'm like, that's a good one. It's sprints, sometimes it'll be 400s, 800s, 1200s, whatever. I do that functional fitness every day, and then I'll kind of throw in extra workouts. If I see a workout I like, if somebody at the gym wants to do an extra workout, we'll throw in an extra workout. And I feel like, or my theory is if I keep that base, I have a running base, I have a basic functional fitness base. everything else, everything else, everything. Yeah. The only other thing that I throw in there is the mental. And so when I go into any race, I know that I can complete it. I was just thinking about that the other day. Like, I've gone into some 100-milers with like a little bit of hesitation, but I've never once thought like, I can't complete this. It's impossible. Like, so, and a lot of times they're borderline impossible, but anyways, I can complete anything I do. And, I would say I like focus more on OCR. So if I focus on OCR, like that's my thing. Like I'm good at that. Those are kind of like, I guess my A races, my 100-milers are just kind of for fun, just because I like to run for hours in the mountains.
Of course.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Anyways, so when it comes to OCR, again, I go into it. To me, it's all, I think the part that kind of brings it together is the mentality. Like I go into it, I don't expect to win. I don't expect to place. There's a good chance I may die and just like totally bomb, but I'm going to like give it my best shot. And like, I'm happy to be there and I'm going to go and do what I can. So, so far it's working out.
You've definitely had like this wicked breakout year for sure. So the gym you're going to, is that the Grit Fitness?
Yes, Grit Fitness.
So when you go there too, because I mean, you've come across as being someone who's pretty obstacle proficient too. And now you mentioned that you're doing like a lot of functional fitness and that stuff. So you get the power, you get the grip strength, you get all that. But to move yourself through time and space on a rig and stuff, sometimes you can be as strong as you want to be, and that still doesn't click. So with grit, are you practicing, like, are you having days where you're like, I'm just going to do some obstacle after my workout today and just kind of flow?
So Grit has it set up pretty well. We have like workouts throughout the week. And then on Saturdays, which obviously I've been racing a lot of Saturdays, but any Saturday that I'm not racing, they have what they call an OCR sim. And basically what they do is we'll run, we have basically like a half-mile loop, run a half mile, come in and do either an obstacle or a series of obstacles. And so there's certain combinations that we kind of found like are challenging and like really, so we'll do like a farmer's carry. It's like 150-meter farmer's carry with like heavy kettlebells. And then we'll go right from that into traverse wall. So your grip is all like tired out. And now try to hit the traverse wall. So Grit has set that up really well. Any weekend I'm not racing, I'm typically running one of these OCR sims. It'll be typically 4 miles of like running and then doing an obstacle or set of obstacles. When we come up towards like Deca or High Rocks or whatever they decide to focus on, we'll do sims that more like focus on that. So I would say that's kind of where most of the obstacle proficiency comes from, is just like getting on obstacles. And we have pretty much all the obstacles. And then we have one of the owners, welds, and he'll like build obstacles. So when Gibbons came out, he built Gibbons, and now we've got an 18-foot long twister. We've got several different Gibbons, and sometimes they'll be like stationary, like bolted into a bar. Sometimes they'll be swinging, because we'll take them down. Grit puts on several events throughout the year, so they're kind of moving things around. Everything changes. So basically we have like any obstacle that's out there, we have it in one of the 3 gyms. And we do a lot of just practicing, running, coming into an obstacle, tired out, and getting through it. So when I first showed up here, I guess like 3 years ago now, 4 years ago, I could kind of eke my way through obstacles because I had like enough momentum, and I guess like grip strength, but practicing on the obstacles regularly, having them around, has obviously made a huge difference. I will say I've been racing a lot and running a lot more than obstacles, and I feel like I've lost a lot of my obstacle efficiency. So
it's amazing how quick it slides away on you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it fades fast.
It caught me off guard at OCRWC. Like, I don't know if they caught it on the live on Canyon on the 3K. I had to try that, I think 4 or 5 times before I finally got it. Lagaff gave a lot of people a hard time. That took me 4 or 5 tries, but that's kind of a weird one. Like, I don't know. Ida's just good at everything. So,
but Ida's seen Lagaff a lot too, right? Like Ida's seen Lagaff like 3 or 4 times.
I don't know if you've watched her. I've been watching her stories. This Storm the Castle thing she does. Some of those obstacles are so cool. I'm like, why don't we have that here?
It is a different world in Europe. My buddy,
it's amazing.
You want to see some crazy obstacle OCR people? Watch Polish stuff. The people in Poland are absolutely crazy amazing. Like Poland and South Africa.
Okay, I follow some South Africa. South Africa seems a bit shut down still.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you watch the old stuff, you see those those athletes from Poland. They're killing it. Then the
Yeah.
obstacles are next. I think it was maybe 2018 European World Championship, and like two women finished.
Oh, wow.
And John Albin at the end, like everybody was shredded. To be honest, it was overboard. Even for there, it was just
Yeah.
crazy next level overboard. But
Yeah.
then they dialed it back a bit, and that's why Leon is so efficient, because he
Yeah.
comes over here and he's like, I might not be able to run with some of these guys, but these obstacles are so easy for me that he just
Yeah.
so much time.
And that was always my advantage. And now I finally getting the running down, but the obstacles, yeah. It's
Will you give me a little hope?
difficult.
Because I'm a slow old dude. Like I can do it like mad and power, no problem. But I'm so slow. So there's hope for me yet.
Yes.
You sound like you
Running.
subscribe to like the Dylan Scott style of training. Like I just wake up and do what I want, and then if I'm tired, I sit on the couch and have chips.
I don't do 4 workouts a day. Dylan Scott is like,
Crazy,
I'm just waiting for somebody to tell him like, you can stop working out. Like, no, he works out an insane amount. He'll do like 2 4-hour workouts, and like, so I'm maybe that approach, but a very more like scaled back version.
We had him on and he's just like, yeah, I just wake up in the morning and then I write some stuff down, and if I feel like doing it, I do it, and then when I rest really hard.
Yeah, I definitely am very good at power naps and napping. That's my other thing that I do but I get up very early for work. So, but no, I'm very good at resting. And I feel like that's another thing. You can't stress about it. Like you put in the training, you put in the work, and you've got to be able to relax. And I feel like I've seen, and that's why people burn out, is because they're so, I don't know, stressing out about it.
So, I mean, just like I said, this is a breakout year for you. So you first kind of came onto my radar from Savages. I was noticing you on the Savage broadcast. And
yeah.
So I don't want to go through a whole history of athletics, and you just said you didn't have any, but so how long have you been in the game? How long have you been like starting in the OCR thing?
I did my very first OCR in 2016. End of 2017.
Yeah.
I did a couple more. And that was where, I kind of had a lot of success right off the bat. End of 2017 is when I found out about the elite field. I think at my third Spartan race, because I was just going for a trifecta. And it was a broken trifecta, so it wouldn't have even counted. But I found out about the elite, and I found out like, oh, they win, they make money. Somebody was like, they travel all over. I was like, that's crazy. So I was in 2017. So I started running elite end of 2017. I actually went up to Canada. I was living on the East Coast at the end of 2017. And I went up to Canada and that was my first podium, was up in Canada, got third place in a beast up there. And it was kind of like, oh, this is fun.
Do you remember where it was? I really should have remembered. I should have known that.
It was Ontario, Toronto, Ontario.
So they're either Duntroon or Brimacombe.
Duntroon.
Okay, honestly, that's 45 minutes from where I live.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I was up there in 2017, and I actually met a group of Canadians that were kind of like my first friends in OCR. I'm still part of like their Facebook group, and I always talk about maybe coming back out. I came down to Killington the following weekend, and I didn't really realize what Killington was. It was just a Vermont race. And I found out pretty quickly, like, oh, apparently it's, a terrible race. I did the beast there. It's pretty cool. This was, I think, the last year they were doing coins. So in 2017, I coined in Canada. And then the following week, I got 5th at Killington, and I coined there as well. So I had coins I coined in both countries, which you can only coin once per country, I guess.
Yeah.
So that was 2017, end of 2017. Were you going to say something?
Because that race, actually, both Bethany and I were at that race.
Really?
We didn't know each other then either, but yeah.
Oh,
we
really?
at that race. I wouldn't be surprised if she was on the podium for that race.
I'll have to go look at results now to see where she ended.
I think that was both of our first year of kind of competitive racing.
There you go. Mine too. So
it's crazy. Well, you've done a lot more than me. I'm feeling bad because she's done a lot. You've done a lot, and I'm still here.
Yeah. Well, I jumped in pretty quickly. So I found out that summer as well about Ultra Beast. So I signed up for the Dallas Ultra Beast and did that in October. I ended up podiuming there as well. I got third. 2018 was kind of like my first year of like trying to race. Really did not know what I was doing training wise at all, if anything. And I just did a lot of Texas races. 2019 and 2020, I was still racing. I would do the Texas races and always place decently there. And I started doing 100 milers. But 2019 and 2020, I kind of had a lot of, well, 2018, 2019, I had kind of some personal stuff going on that kind of kept me from going well. And also just athletically, I was not ready to go anything big. 2020 was an awesome year of like building up. And then, 2021 has been my year of like, let's do it all now. After not doing anything last year, I'm ready to do it all.
When you did 2017, you came up for that Spartan and stuff at that point, and I'll get into OCRWC. You never did you even know about OCRWC at the time? Like, because I know I had just found out about it myself, and I was like, oh my god, I qualified. Like there's a championship thing, I can go to it. Like, I was blown away.
Yeah. I actually, the very first elite race I did was in summer of 2017, and I ran it with my sister here in Texas. And the only reason we did it, the only reason we did elite was because we had work that evening. I think we're like, we just want to run early. And somebody there mentioned like, oh, like y'all are really young. You probably did well in your age group. You should see if you qualified. And we were kind of like, oh, Canada. I think it was in Canada that year. Yeah. And they were kind of like championships. I was like, that's kind of cool, but like, wasn't really interested. And then I didn't really hear anything about it again until 2017. I did a Rugged Maniac in Arkansas. Missouri. Okay. On my way back down, I did a Rugged Maniac, and I think I got second place there, and they gave me an OCRWC qualifying shirt. So that was kind of the first time I like heard about OCRWC, but I still was like, had no concept of it. I guess it wasn't until 2018 that I heard about it. I think, trying to think if I don't think I went in 2018. No, I did. I think I did NORAM championships in 2018. Yes. Did I? Or you're just saying?
No, I'm just saying that NORAM, it would have been NORAM. It wouldn't have been OCRWC because OCRWC 2018 was over in London.
Yeah. Well, okay. So 2018, I probably did NORAM 2018, I did NORAM and we went to London for OCRWC.
Oh, okay.
And it was my first year of running. So I did my age group and I won my age group there. 2019, I did just NORAM. And then this year did just OCRWC. So.
Was it because like London sucked and it was just a muddy shit show?
No, I didn't hate it. It was just, I was just not in a place to go in 2019. I actually kind of enjoyed it. 2018 is definitely very muddy, but honestly, the week after, we went up to the Lake District and hiked around up there, and that was amazing. That made the trip to England totally worth it. So, sure. Yeah.
So you went into this year, and I mean, you had a lot of success with Savage this year. Let's just Savage for a quick sec. Let's just stay here.
Yeah.
Is it too hard? Oh, you okay?
Oh, say what? No, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Is it too hard? Do they need to nerf it down a little bit?
Absolutely not. I think they are probably the only race besides OCRWC. And I guess Battle of the Lions, which he did a lot of the build for. There's a couple small brands that do it. I feel like Savage is the one prominent brand that is actually like innovating obstacles and bringing out something new and giving people something to work on. Spartan, like the obstacles are kind of a joke. And especially now, their 30 burpees made it like valuable to be able to complete the obstacles. Now with the penalty loops so short, it's like, why even really work on obstacles? Like, just get better at running. And they're, obviously their latest ones are like Helix and Pipe Layer, and like, what even are those? So I feel like Savage is the only one that's kind of pushing it forward as far as like, as a, it's obstacle course racing. And it's definitely like their courses are everybody says there's not enough strength. I would kind of argue like they're making their log carries now where you have to like crawl under stuff, go over stuff. Like, I feel like that definitely adds, there's a huge advantage if you have a little bit of, you're not just carrying a little board. And then they have their strength obstacles are definitely like, there's some strength component to them. The pedal to the metal one.
Yeah, their Herc hoist is the best, far and away the best Herc hoist in all of obstacle course racing.
Yeah, there you go. I wasn't even thinking about that one. So I feel like Savage is very well balanced. They definitely push the obstacles, which I think is important. Like, if you're never getting challenged in obstacles, like, I think they motivate a lot of people to work harder and get better at obstacles. So no, I don't think they're too hard. Obviously, maybe if I'd failed some, I would think differently, but I definitely don't think so yet.
Well, I
We'll
think,
see after this weekend. I think
I
they're
think,
bringing the Lachey to Dallas, so we'll
oh,
see how
good,
that
good,
goes.
good. I think, I think it's just a thing where I don't mind them being that hard. I don't mind them having that tough rig because it's just, if you want to be better at Savage, get better at Savage. If you want to be better
Yeah.
at Spartan, get better at Spartan. You train for the race you want to do. And that
Yeah.
happens to be part of their race. And if you're a super fast runner and can't get through that obstacle, well, guess what? You're not as good as you thought you were.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a harsh tone, but that's the way it is. Spartan, I've always believed this. Spartan is the prime candidate for mandatory completion because the obstacles are so bloody easy.
Yeah.
So take away the burpees, and then you're going to see you guys take bigger risks. Like you're going to see Lachey's across Twister. You're going to see like that. Right now, the 30 burpees is too much of a risk. It's like a, depending on you are anywhere from 1.5 to 3 minutes penalty. Yeah. And so it's not worth it. You do everything safely and everybody does the same thing. It becomes who can run the fastest.
Yeah. And I don't understand. I mean, I feel like even for, I mean, I know they're all big on their burpee thing, but like even for open waivers, I feel like it would be way more, open wave. They don't have to do the obstacle. They don't have to do the 30 burpees. So why not like, hey, if you can get through it, that's an accomplishment. So try as many times as you want, try to get through it. I feel like it would be of an advantage even for the open wave, because that's what they try to, they want to make it good for everybody. Like it doesn't, it's a benefit to everybody, in my opinion. So
I totally agree. And I mean,
actually,
when I volunteer for Spartan,
yeah,
it's a multiple attempt course when I volunteer for the open wave.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I fell. Do I need to do my burpees? I'm like, I was watching over there and I didn't see nothing. So you do whatever you want to do. It's an open race. What do I care?
Yeah. I think you should try it again. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't, I'm gonna. So.
Yeah. Right.
So you went to, you got to this Euro CRWC and you say you don't have expectations, right? You say that like normally, if I place, I place. If I don't, I don't. Blah, blah, blah. But going into this one, you must have had a bit of an idea like, hey, this kind of suits me. This is a good style race for me. It's tougher obstacles. I've had a great year. I'm doing really well. I've competed against a lot of these women throughout the year. You must have had some kind of realization that you could have a good weekend.
Yeah, I figured I could get top 5.
Yeah. You were right.
I actually, yeah, there you go. I raced against, I haven't raced many of the elites, but Rose came out to Texas, I think for the Austin race. So that was in May of this year, maybe. And it was a huge, I guess it's like an eye-opening experience for me. In that Spartan race, me and her led the race the entire time. And I was able to moderately keep up with her on running. Anytime we hit a long uphill, she would pull ahead. But every time we hit an obstacle, I would come into it after her and leave it before her. And it was really, we both ended up missing the spear, and Alex was running behind us and she got the spear and finished. Rose definitely wanted her second. So she got her second, I got third. But it was a really like neat experience to realize like I can run. Obviously I can't run as fast as her. She's a way better runner than I am, but I was like, I can kind of keep up in an OCR. So that was a huge, like, I guess kind of like light bulb mind shift of like, I'm not just this person like trying to do well. Cause that's what I've always like, I'm going to try to do well. I'll do the races I want. I was like, I should really like try to push myself in the competitive side of things. And so that was, I mean, that's really the reason I tried to go to Utah, but that didn't work with my work schedule. That was the reason I went to West Virginia. And then of course I always come to OCRWC, but going into OCRWC again, I was like, I can maybe kind of keep up with these people, which was it's a very new feeling for me. Like I've always felt very inferior. So it was really neat to kind of like, okay, I can maybe keep up. I would say in OCRWC, like for sure the obstacles I don't have a problem with. But mountain running has never been my strength. I live in probably one of the flattest places in the world. So any kind of, I don't have any kind of hills or mountains. I have a bridge to the beach that I can run up and over.
You're doing overpass training?
Yep. Overpass, up and over. We go and run it at 2 a.m. in the morning before all the traffic comes out, up and over. So I've always, again, felt very like inferior on mountains, but I think also doing some of my 100 milers in mountains, I've gotten pretty good at power hiking. I feel like the downhill is more a matter of like confidence and fearlessness than like, obviously there's some skill to it, but if you're confident enough in your skills and less fearful, you'll do okay on it, which is obviously hard to get to because it's kind of scary sometimes.
You got to be willing to just say fuck it and just let it go.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so I came into it like I knew I could get top 5, but other than that, like we'll just see how the weekend goes. So
Had you ever run against Lindsay before that one? Were you at that one Savage this year?
No, I was not at that Savage.
Okay.
West Virginia was the first time running against her. Well, I guess I've run OCR WC in the past. It was actually this past weekend, OCR WC was really neat because at West Virginia, she gapped the women's field by like 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, like she's just next level. So it was really cool to see an OCR WC. Like, I know the first day Rose and Ida weren't too far behind her. And then on the 15K, it was a pretty much 2 minutes between first, second, and third. So that was really cool too, because Lindsay is obviously, to me, very like unreachable. Like she's just all the way up there. So again, like it's really inspiring and it's really cool to kind of think like, okay, maybe I can run at this level. Let's give it a shot.
Well, you touched on it a little bit earlier with Lagaf, and one of the greatest regrets kind of I had about the whole 15K is we had to show Kempson finishing, right? Because he was coming across the line. He's going to win the world championship. You have to show it. You have to stick with it. And I could see in this bottom little corners, all the women's field jockeying back and forth, struggling on Lagaf. And I'm like, I want to show that. It's really cool.
Yeah. I heard that. I just listened to whichever podcast you talked. Yeah. No. And that was watching I was actually glad that we didn't get a lot of coverage because it was pretty rough for me. I was like, okay, good. The camera like went away.
The first year
it was rough.
The first year they came out with that, it caused chaos. Like there was axe handles at the end of it with just bands collected on these axe handles. It was crazy.
Savage has a similar obstacle, and I've done Lagaf at Norams before, but they've always had feet grips on that metal bar. I think they have. I don't know. This one was definitely different, and
it looked gapped a little bit different. There were things that were a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get a chance to see it up close, so it would have been nice. I would have loved to gone through it because Lagaf is an obstacle I'm pretty proficient at. I do quite well at.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to seen the differences, but in hindsight, that would have been a good one to have in the festival area because that was where.
Oh yeah, yeah. It would have been really interesting because it's definitely like there's several different approaches. I think Canyon was a great one to have. I volunteered at Canyon all day Friday, collected a pretty big fistful of bands.
You might have got the best for most of them, actually.
I think so. I had a big fistful in my pocket, and when I finally left to go do my race, I like gave it to me. I was like, these are all my bands. I could like barely hold them all. Lagaf was one that it's different. I feel like all the obstacles in the festival area were like rings, which obviously fun to watch, but Lagaf would have been neat because it's very different, and it's very different from all of the hanging out. It's a very unique kind of one of a kind obstacle, I guess.
It involves a whole different technique. It's not a strength thing. It's not a speed thing. It's a technique thing. And that's why I really like the obstacle, because it just pays to have solid technique. You can almost teach anyone to do it if they have that skill set.
Yeah. I will say I was very disappointed in the volunteer. When I came into it, they said to stay low on the bar and you have to get high. I was like, and that's like the first time I stayed low and tried to I was like, this isn't working. It took me several times to get very high and tilt it over. So
yeah, if you stay low, you gotta be a big, bulky person with enough power to jar it back. Right?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah,
it is true. If you're a bit of a heavier dude, like say, you can get on that bottom and you muscle it back. But when you're high, what you got to do that transfer and use that body weight momentum here I go, and right off screen, use that body weight to just, to send the pole into the next position and grab the next. It's like anything, you want to maintain that flow.
That momentum forward. Yeah,
it's beautiful. So, I mean, let's go right. Cause you did say you volunteered at Canyon and lots of bands. So before I get to the volunteer thing, should they have raised it? Did you like they raised it or should they kept it down?
I'm not going to complain about it because I struggled with it on Friday. I think, obviously it was a call they had to make. I don't quite know how I feel about it. I think it's good to have raised it on the 15K distance where there's a ton more obstacles. You're way more tired. I don't think they needed to modify it as much as they did. They took off the last ring where you're not even going as high anymore. Like, I feel like they kind of watered it down a little too much. But I don't think, I'm not going to be the one that's like, no, keep it hard. Like, it should be doable. And I watched a lot of people struggle on it. A lot of people went through it no problem. Like, so it was definitely completable, but I watched a lot of people struggle. And I think people, well, I don't know, it kind of took away the struggle once they raised it up some. So I don't really know how I feel about that. I'm not one that's like, keep them hard. I don't know, like it should be enjoyable. It should be fun. And if it's so hard that it's impossible, like it's no fun. And I don't know. And this one was it was very specifically like difficult. It was just like, it took so much. It wasn't a technique thing. It was very much a strength thing, very much core strength, arm strength, momentum. Like, so I guess that's kind of where I'm like, I'm okay with it. Cause it was very much like some people were just never going to get it. Like no matter how hard they try, where there's ups, there are ups. Well, and I guess you could say that about Savage. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not really hardcore either way. So
yeah, I think for me, like you called it exactly right. That does require a lot of strength, because pretty much the way they had it set up, unless you're very tiny, you needed to be able to do your lock offs with your arms. And it was really difficult to maintain momentum going across the bottom in order to just swing up the next one. I think you're right. I think they maybe just, maybe not 20 inches, maybe 10, maybe leave the bell where it was, and I would have been okay with it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I was more, and we didn't get it because it was off on a very different part of the mountain. I more didn't like the way they did Gibbons.
Did you see it at all?
I saw some other rear run throughs. Yeah, I saw it. So pretty much.
It was like 4 Gibbons.
And what you could do is you could reach out to the second one, go to the fourth, and be done.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
it was very short. I definitely noticed it was short, and I was very disappointed because it was a fun obstacle. And we came into it. I came into it with Rose and Lindsay. I think Rose ended up like hitting it with her elbow. Lindsay went to chicken wing it.
Yeah.
But still, it like didn't slow anybody down. Yeah, I was very disappointed in that because it was a great obstacle last year.
And it is, I mean, the first year they brought that out, I believe you were at that, Norm. That was a difference maker. That was hell. And everybody, like, they were all chicken winging it, and we were mocking everyone for chicken. That did chicken wing. It was like a badge of courage. I did it pure grip, and
Yeah. I've never figured out how to chicken wing. And sometimes I thought it might be useful, but I've not figured that one out yet.
I said the same thing.
It like hurts too much.
Well, I've said the same thing, that maybe I should get good at it just as a backup, because you always, when you're doing difficult obstacles, you got your primary plan, then you got like your plan B. If like I got tears, I'm ripped up, or I'm spent, or whatever the case may be. So like, maybe as a backup plan. But I'm the same. I have it in my garage, and I'm like, I don't like chicken wing this thing. It sucks. It hurts like hell.
Yeah, there's no way.
So then I finally talked myself into, I'm not going to chicken wing it because it's dangerous. So there you go. So, and then I have an explanation, and we saw something one time at a race called Dead End. And
Dead End Race?
Dead End Race. Yeah. It's out in Quebec.
Okay. I've heard of that one. Yeah. I've heard of that.
If you come off Gibbons from the chicken wing, right? And we saw this happen to a girl. The angle iron went right up her arm, didn't hit her arm, but it cut her watch right off her wrist.
Oh,
if that had gone up the center of her forearm,
that would not have been good.
No. So that's my logic between I will never do the chicken wing and maybe we should outlaw.
Yeah, that's a thought.
Plus, then it's an advantage,
especially on Gibbons. I don't know. I see all these girls chicken winging the rings and everything, and I'm like, that's just different. Looks so painful. And chicken winging anything looks painful.
You could separate some tendons there or something, or maybe something like that, but I don't think you're going to cut your arm off.
Yeah, that's crazy. Slice the watch right off. Wow.
It was scary. We were standing right beside the obstacle at the time when it happened, because we had finished our race and we're cheering people on, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's one of those like collective, like everybody kind of lets out
So when you were volunteering on Canyon, you had, in my mind, what was one of the highlights of the weekend. You had the best take, and I think Matt made you do it twice so we could get it on film. And just, as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, this is like a kindred spirit view here. Your view on volunteering, and just lay it out there again, if you don't mind, for everyone to hear your take.
Well, I started thinking about it on Friday when I was there volunteering. So we came in on Thursday. Yeah. Our flight was all delayed. The drive was long. We got there on Thursday, and we volunteered for, I think, about 8 hours on Thursday, in registration, in the merch tent, whatever. And all these people are kind of like browsing through and like taking their time, and like there's not really any real reason to be there on Thursday, especially with the times being so different. anyways, all these people are there buying stuff, whatever. And it's like, it's really basic to just sit there and like check people out, check people in, check people out in the merchandise or check people in for the races. Anyway, so Friday, they had said they were so short on volunteers that they were almost going to have to like close obstacles down. Cause I signed up for volunteering. The girl was like, I was communicating with the girl and she was all like, is there any way we can have you on these days? And I was like, just put me down for volunteering. I got to take a break to go race. But like, if y'all need volunteers, like I can stand and watch something like, anyways. So sitting there at Canyon on Friday, the pros don't go until late. So everybody's just kind of walking around, browsing around. But when Matt came over and like talked to me, I don't know if maybe he had a live going or something. He had some kind of camera, but he came over and said, "Hey, Kris, you're volunteering here." Oh, he asked about the hay, I think, or something. So I kind of talked to him and he said, "Man, Kris, like you're always volunteering. Like, I feel like you're kind of the people's person or whatever that is." And I was like, I mean, it's fun. And like, it's not hard. I'm just standing here. But that's when I started thinking about it. I was like, why aren't more people volunteering? Like, why is this it shouldn't be such a big deal to volunteer and like to stand at an obstacle for a couple hours and like watch people go through. I was able to like give some tips and kind of help some people out. Other times it's like, can't help you, whatever. Yeah. So I started cooking on Friday and then it was on Saturday that it was kind of like, this is how it was after he left on Friday that I was thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? All these people that complain about obstacles the obstacles not being monitored, people cheat on the obstacles, people are getting through and not doing enough burpees, whatever it is, like everybody's got to complain about it. And I've even heard like, on the rabbit footage, like, why isn't somebody watching? Why isn't somebody there? Like, and it's like, it's obviously a lack, like it's a problem. And like, how hard is it to just show up for a couple hours? And here's the thing is like, there's a huge perk to it. You can get a free race, which obviously to the pros doesn't matter. To me, it matters. So that was all, that was obviously the first reason was like, oh, I can volunteer for a couple hours, help out, get a free race. Like that's kind of a no-brainer. And so it's just, that thing of like if y'all have so many issues, just show up and volunteer, like make a difference. It's not that hard. And it goes a long ways. It really does. Like the more bodies they have out there, the more eyes they have on obstacles, the better things are going to run. And it makes, that little bit of a difference that goes a long ways. I think,
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I see a lot of like open waivers that'll do it. Like at West Virginia, we volunteered after the Beast. They actually we went to a bunch of different obstacles. I think we were manning a water station by the end. And all these people, like, I don't know, it's rewarding. Like it gives back to the sport. It like helps the race run better. And it's also really rewarding to like, I don't know, people that think they're elite and like all this stuff. Obviously there are true elites that like get paid to do this. So, they do their thing. But if you like care about this and care about like, you do it because you enjoy it, you do it because you love it. Like there's so many people out there that like, I don't know, it gives you some perspective. These people are like doing the hardest thing they've ever done. They're, 4 miles into this, 5 miles into this, they still have 9 miles to go at a Beast, whatever. It's the hardest thing they've ever done. And to be able to be somebody that's like, here, drink some water, you'll be fine. Here's what's next on the course. Like, it's very rewarding just as on like a humanity level of like being able to like, and I don't know, it's like, I guess inspiring too, to see like, these people that like, this is the hardest thing they will ever do. I'll never understand why people run the open waves. Like I watch them, like they look miserable. But it's very rewarding on, you get a race credit, you get to watch people. I mean, it's always inspiring to see people. I mean, I was there on Saturday when Shades OCR.
Oh gosh.
When he came through, I was there at Urban Sky and watching him and having seen other people do it. I was able to tell him like, if you chicken wing that last, kept on falling off on the last grip. And I was like, if you're able to chicken wing it, you'll be able to get it. And it was that next try that he got it. Like I wouldn't have been able to see that if I weren't volunteering. Like there's people, wandering around, but you get to see so much more like determination. And like these people are doing the hardest thing they've ever done. So I don't know. I really enjoy it. Maybe I'm the only one, but
no, you totally not. And no, you nail on the head with so many things. First off, I'll go back to something kind of you said there was, I look at it this way. It's very similar to voting. If you don't vote, don't bitch. And if you don't volunteer, don't bitch about people not volunteering because you're part of the problem.
Yep.
Right?
And they all, I will say other thing about like, why don't they have paid people and all this stuff? Like, this is a new sport. Like, do you want it to last? Do you want it to get better? They can't afford to pay that. Like, you know, and they got plenty of money. They're making so much money.
They
They
don't.
have to pay so many people. Like, and if you understand like any level of business, anything, like it's in beginning stages. Like they can't afford to pay. And like that's fine. You know, they're still putting on a great event and doing the best with what they have. So anyways, yeah.
And again, you bang again, like they don't have that much money. They really don't. Even Spartan, Joe might live fine. He's living a good life. He's not going hungry. That's fine. His kids are going to go to school. But Spartan itself is not making that much money. And it's coming back off buying Tough Mudder, off a season of nothing, still giving people, you know, they're still running races at a loss because they have to give back all the, you know, the deferrals from the races they couldn't hold.
Yeah.
They need the volunteers. Every race needs volunteers. And even if you're doing Ironman, 5Ks, whatever, volunteers run endurance sports. You need it.
Yeah.
Some of the best experiences I've had have been while I was volunteering as far as racing. I think it was 2018. I volunteered at a Force 5 rig. It was right in the festival area. And I was with my son and his friend. We were all volunteering together. We had people come through. And I remember one guy, his name's Peter, and he tried and tried and tried and tried. And he was stuck on it. And we were cheering him on. We were giving him advice. And it went a long time. And then finally, he got across it and he's just like, you know, he's yelling back, I wouldn't have made it without you guys. And he tears off and he runs away. And it was just awesome. You know, he friends you on Facebook later, you talk, and that's great. But I think even better might've been 2019 at NORAM. My wife and I were volunteering. Yeah, she just said his name. We were volunteering at the Platinum Rig. It was about mid-mountain, kind of where the gorilla ropes were this year, that exact same spot.
Yeah.
And this was during, I think, an age group rave, and a Puerto Rican guy named Frankie come through. And he was struggling and struggling and struggling. It was a decent, difficult rig, but he was struggling and struggling and struggling. He tried to quit 4 times or something like that. And we're like, no, Frankie, go back and do it again. Go back and do it again. He finally got through it and literally picked us both off the ground, hugging us. And he's like, oh,
that's amazing.
And it was just, you know, it's enough to like, and like you say, this is the hardest thing some of these people are ever going to do. And you're going to be there as a part of it to help them.
Yeah. And you can't experience that in your own race. Like, you know, there's hard things you do and whatever, but like to be a part of somebody else's success, like you don't get to experience that just every day. Like,
oh yeah. We saw that guy around the rest of the village for the rest of the weekend. And every time he'd just run up and hug you and it'd be like just, and I mean, if you've seen the Puerto Rican ensemble, you know, it's,
their energy is
amazing.
It's next level.
So definitely, I 100% with you on the volunteer thing. And my normal thing for OCRWC or NORAM or whatever is I run the 3K, I volunteer for the 15, and then I run the team. And continue to do so. Yeah. So yes, if she's saying it, it's right. So do it, volunteer.
There you go.
What do you think about, and I mean, you're a part of it, but all this new blood coming into especially the women's side of the competitive atmosphere, and how, you know, there was arguments, probably not arguments, but people would be saying over the past few years that the women's side, you know, was not as deep and maybe, you know, not, but this year it just seems like, wow, like so many people, I mean, yourself, Emma Cook-Clark, Ariel Fitzgerald, just Sarah Kais this weekend up. I mean, how do you see that? Like, does that excite you?
Oh yeah.
Or does it?
I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. I think it's a little interesting. This year, there's so many races everywhere. I feel like we haven't had a like combined like everybody against each other. So I think it's really neat to see. It's really neat to see, you know, in any one weekend, there's 5 different races that happen, and there's people that are like winning. And, you know, I guess it's hard to say, like, I feel like spreading it out so much. I don't know if spreading out so much has helped more people come in, realize that like they have a chance. It's not just like this single race and this single race. Like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I've seen a lot more of like people that like work hard, are decently good, probably couldn't compete with Lindsay, but like on any given weekend, they're getting 3rd, 2nd, even 1st on a podium. And like, I think that's really cool to see that it's able to spread out some. I think what I would love to see is have it all to come together. And I think Spartan does the best job as a general rule of bringing all of that competition together, all these names that like you see them over and over at Spartan races, and to bring them all to those national series. So I think that's really neat. but I kind of wonder if like spreading it out some and having so many events is kind of building that up, giving more people like more confidence and more of that competitive, like that, like, I don't know, desire to be competitive, be elite, and to kind of push to that next level.
Well, and that's what I've asked a lot of women this in the competitive scene. And you did this exact thing. How do we encourage more women? Because there is definitely still spots. How do we encourage them to get out of the age group and jump into elite? And I'm even seeing this more in the men's now. So it's like the women's has gotten better and the men's the backwards, where it's like these guys want to drop back in just so they can get an age group podium. It's like, well, I'm gonna get top 5, so get age group. Like, frustrates the hell out of me. But you know, how do you encourage these people to jump up?
I mean, I guess I'll say from my 2018 was like my first year. And I was like, I mean, I was podiuming at like local Spartan races, but I knew at NORANs, at OCRWC, like I was not at that top level. Mm-hmm. So I chose for that first year to do age group, and I swept age group at NORANs. I swept age group at OCRWC. And for me, those were the only age group race and they actually had like a competitive age group division. After that, I was like, there's no way I could go back to that and sweep it again. And I don't know if sandbagger. And I even felt like a sandbagger doing it that year, because it was like, and I mean, I was young. I think I was 21 that year. So I was definitely like, I'm young. This was like the last chance I'll have to do it. So I wanted like, and it was, I mean, obviously like selfish. I wanted to like win, you know? And I feel like everybody deserves to have that. Like, okay, go win an age group, get that little confidence boost. I don't understand how people can continue to win their age group. The only thing that I see is that it's kind of, I mean, I guess like what we've seen in the men, it gets discouraging. If you're not going to make top 5, you know, there's no way you're going to make top 5, top 10, just because the field is so deep. It's easy to go back to like, well, like, and that's what they, you know, their reasoning is like, oh, well, there's enough competition in the age group wave now. Like, it's stiff competition and it's more on their level. I don't know how they do it. I couldn't do it, but also like I'm not in their place. So I don't know. Like, I agree. Like if you're sweeping the age group every time, like move up to elite. But at the same time, if you're not going to be competitive elite, like, but it should motivate them to push to be competitive elite. So
I would think so. And I know that my 2 big points about it are, and I've been told this, I think it was Mick Girello told me this first. He's like, if you're running elite, you're going to run better. You're going to run faster because your competition's better. You're going to push yourself harder. Even if you're in the back of the pack, you're still going to be faster than you would have been in age group. Yeah. The other part of it is, and this is just a personal thing, if I come back from a race and I tell my son, and my son's older, he's 18, but if I tell him, hey, I got, you know, 3rd in age, he's like, oh, that's cool. But if I tell him I got 15th in pro or elite or whatever, he's like, that's fucking awesome. So to me, I agree with him that I think it means more. So yeah.
And that's what it's hard to, and I feel like, I don't know, it has, I mean, obviously they have to personally make that choice. Like you have to find value in maybe placing top 20, top 30 in the elite. There's more value to that than there is to winning your age group year after year after year. It's maybe a little less satisfying. Like it's, you know, just gives you like more pressure to work harder, but like those aren't bad things. And you should, you know, be wanting to progress. So.
Put cooler medals in the elite field and it'll solve it all. Actually, Jack Bauer and I once had a conversation, and he said, actually, he made a great point. He's like, when you fill out, you know, you go to sign up, they need to find some way where it accesses some of your results and says, we suggest this division. You know, it's not mandatory, but we suggest.
We suggest, And
I think it might help, you know, because sometimes it's just a confidence issue. It's like, I don't belong there. I shouldn't be with them. But if or whoever is saying we suggest this division, then at least you're like, okay, I got the chops. I should be. All right. Just for the last thing, we're gonna do some quick multiple choice here. Okay. I don't do this often, just sometimes. All right. So Spartan or Savage?
Savage.
Good answer. I agree. Pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
Oh, again, you're doing
every time.
You're doing really every time. And I already know this, so I'm afraid to ask it, but I wrote it down. Burpees or bands?
Bands.
You're scoring 100 here so far, and it's one of those things that you can't get wrong, but you're still getting them all right. So you're doing good. This one's a little bit different though. Short, fast race, long distance race.
Ooh. I think now I'll have to say long distance.
Nice.
Well, Oh, I'm not. What did you say at the beginning? You're a specialist.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I'm a specialist enough to answer that.
No, you are the jack of all trades. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I like it. I like them short because they're over faster. And I literally go into it like this is 15 minutes. Like the Deca mile is my very favorite. I'm like, it's over in 20 minutes. And then it's just it's a totally different mindset that goes into the long endurance ones. It's literally like, all right, I might be out here all day and I might die out here. So I don't know. But I'd say, I guess I'll have to say long endurance because I probably do better on that. So that's how I'm going with that.
Push-ups or pull-ups?
Oh, pull-ups. I'm terrible at both, but I'll go pull-ups.
All right. Are you the driver or the passenger?
Passenger. I like to nap.
My wife's laughing. She does the same. Do you stay at a camp or do you stay at the hotel?
Camp. Sleep in the car. Camp. As cheap as possible.
You got to see our minivan. Got a bed in the back. It's fantastic.
There you go.
Okay, and the last one, I don't know if you've done this yet, but High Rocks or Deca?
I'm gonna go with High Rocks.
Really? Well, you can elaborate on this because we didn't get a chance to really touch on your hybrid racing.
Yes, I've done one High Rocks. It's very hard, very difficult, and I liked that about it. Yeah, I liked it because I feel like, again, there's room for growth in there. You can go into it and like completely flop at any given station. Like I know when I did it 2020, and I did it like 2 weeks after 100 milers. So I feel like I wasn't able to I'm doing it I guess next month, and I'm ready to like really drop my time down by a lot. Nice. But the sled pulls were what was really difficult. And I think now there's shorter sled pulls, or you do
more
like
laps,
2 times down.
12 and a half meters, 4 times.
Yeah. Anyways, but I came out of it like it was very challenging, and there's a lot of room for growth. Deca, I love Deca. I love that. I don't know, it's the same style, and to me it's shorter and faster, so I enjoy that part of it. But I feel like it's very like entry level. Like anybody can do it, go into it and you don't have to be extra strong or extra fast. You just have to kind of be good across the board. Where I feel like High Rocks, you really have to be pretty strong, and you also, to be competitive, you have to be pretty fast. So I just like the challenge of it, I guess.
So I would say the one thing about Deca is Deca really is on par for the Spartan kind of mantra of everybody can do it, and your difficulty comes into your competition. So the workout stations in Deca, where anyone can do them, are very similar to the obstacles in Spartan, where I don't want to say anybody can do them, but they're much more accessible. And then the reason Spartan is so competitive is because you have such great competition.
Draws people in.
So I kind of think it's right on brand for them.
Yeah. And I think that's why I kind of go more for High Rocks, because again, like I would kind of go for Savage over Spartan. Like Spartan's enjoyable, I know I can go and do well, but like High Rocks has that challenging bit to it. You've done one? I guess you're wearing a High Rocks shirt.
Because you've been bloody locked up here the whole time.
No.
So I had to do all the virtual stuff.
Okay.
So and I did win my age group for High Rocks.
There you go. So you're going elite next.
Elite Pro. Yeah, there you go. I'm the guy who will finish at the back of the pro heat because I qualified to be there, damn it, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. That's how the guys that I raced with are. They like qualified for elite, and I think West Virginia Beast was really hard for one of them. I think he did not finish well, but it's still like, I appreciate that. Like, you know what? Go elite. Do the best you can.
Like I'm 45 years old, right? I only got so many times that I'm going to qualify for elite left in me. So
there you go.
Take the ones I can get, right? So yeah, definitely I will do. But we've been stuck up here the whole time. They haven't been north of the border. They had a High Rocks slated for Toronto, and then it got canceled. So it is what it is. Bethany managed to get down. She did do a High Rocks in Chicago, and she loved it.
Okay. Okay.
It's definitely huge on my radar to get down there, and same with Deca. Like I'm with you, Deca mile. That's the one I want to hit because of decent speed. I think that would be best for me. So yeah,
it's so much fun. Like fun. I'm not sure I've had more fun in a race. Like it's the perfect amount of like just enough running to run. The stations are like just enough. I did a trifecta weekend in Jacksonville, I guess 3 months ago, maybe.
Yeah, that
And
whole deck effect.
yeah, deck effective, I think. The mile was like by far like, and I think for anybody, I feel like there's no way you can go wrong with it.
Well, I think it's a good meeting between like the more power people who are doing the strong and then the fast runners who are doing the
Yes.
fit. And I think it's a good meeting point. I like that just because it's more accessible. And I think High Rocks needs to take from that and maybe do a High Rocks half or something along that.
Well, that's what the doubles are for.
Yeah, that's what the double fours. Did you see the what was it, the PFT? PT? Oh my God, I get the
personal fitness test, PFT.
Yes. Yeah.
I saw it. And basically based on your time, they'll tell you kind of what you should do.
Yeah. But I don't really care about that whole part about the time they tell you what to do. But I like that thing. I would take that to High Rocks competitions and just do it personally, much like a deck of strong. And this is kind of your entry level. You're in and try it. And still getting your 100 wall balls, which is the real nasty part. You're out with the sled pulls, but I did that one at home and I'm like, this is perfect.
It takes about, I think Dylan Scott did it in like 16 minutes. They have kind of like a 20-minute, he first said he did it. And I was like, how fast did you do it? He said, I was like, maybe you should consider signing up for elite, I guess. No, but you're right. It'll be that like 15 to 25 minute range of like, just kind of a concentrated version of it.
Yeah, Dylan actually threw out a challenge to me. He told me, because I like to taunt Bethany when I beat her at things, and I don't play very fair. So I was telling her that I beat her at the High Rocks thing, BFT, because, and she's wearing a boot right now, but a win's a win, right? So
yep, 100%.
So Dylan told me he's going to try it in a boot so that he can beat me in a boot.
Beat you in a boot. There you go.
Which I have no doubt he will.
Yeah. I don't either.
Oh, he is.
I don't think a boot is slowing him down much.
No, that guy's, wow. He's otherworld.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I think that's great. I really thank you for coming on here, especially for such short notice. I have become a huge fan this year, and we look forward to seeing you continue to crush things. And as Bethany usually says, keep giving us cool shit to talk about.
There we go. I'm on it.